Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Girlfriend Hour. And today is the first episode of our Sunday segments, the Sunday Scaries with Mayne. So, Kurt is already, he's just jumping for joy. He's ready to tell us some awesome spooky stories. And I'm just going to say, let's get into it. So, Kurt, what are we starting with today?
Let's roll it. Well, I'm going to talk about my experiences as a horror actor for 8 years on the strip.
Yes.
But it's kind of a warm up to that. It's kind of a story regarding the show because it's on the bus I took to and from the show. So, I would have been on that bus if it wasn't the show. So, in a weird way, it kind of is. But I encountered several things on this bus line. It was very strange. One of the weirdest is I got on the bus. It was a double decker, always double decker, and which is kind of interesting. They always broke down in Vegas because they were made in England. That's really smart. You make a double decker in England where it's not hot. And oh my! I had one time I broke down twice. Got off that bus, got another one. That one broke down.
Oh, no.
I said, "To hell with it! I'm walking," and I walked the rest of the way. Yeah, the bus driver told me the reason they break down is they were made in England. I thought, that's not too right. But anyway, this one night, got on the bus over at Las Vegas Boulevard and Flamingo, and hopped on, made my trek upstairs because I always sat on the second deck usually. So I get up there. I'm on like the fourth row back. And this is after the show. I'm going home. And I notice in the front row this really bizarre looking guy.
Okay.
Native American, really, really dark brown skin. I mean, like leather almost.
Okay.
And he had a big amount of blood above one of the eyelids, big patch of blood. He looked, like I said, really old. He looked very old. And this huge patch of blood, and I'm looking at it, what the hell? And the most incredible part, which is the picture I've got, which I'll have to send you, out of the back of his head came this like flock, almost like feathers of white. His hair was jet white, totally white, and like buzzed on the sides. This was an old guy. I mean, really old. And he had this buzz on the side, and out of the back of his head came hair or feathers, whatever it was, like protruding out of the back of his head. And I'm just going, okay, this is too trippy. I gotta get it. I gotta get a picture of this guy. Well, my first thought went to it was a skinwalker.
Okay.
And I know I've done a little research on skinwalkers, things you do. You don't walk up to and say, "Hey, Mr. Skinwalker, how you doing?" You love the do.
That would go over very well. We don't.
Yeah. So and you don't lock eyes with them. Lock eyes with them, they're going to kill you. So this is all according to the lore, But anyway, so I hold my phone. The picture that I've got, you hold the phone up to the window, and they caught his reflection perfectly in the window. So the picture is taken. I'm holding the camera down here so you can't see it. And I click, and I got him. I got the back, at least, of his head. And you see this really weird amount of white whatever coming out of the back of his head. So we're going up the street, and there's this young skater kid next to him. He's got a board, and he's got sneakers on, and Mr. Whatever he was leans over right down in his shoes, practically looking at his shoes like he never saw a pair of shoes before. This kid doesn't know he's there. No reaction at all. And I'm going, kid, you better be careful. Kid did not know he was there. There was another woman between me and him. I watching her. She's not acting like she's seeing this guy at all.
What?
And I'm going, okay, this is really weird. I think I was the only one that saw him on the bus. I honestly believe that. Got up to my bus. my get off point on Jones, got off, and I'm like, well, that was different. And the next night when I got on the bus, I was friends with the bus driver, Enrique, I believe was his name. I said, hey, brother, I showed the picture. Did you see this guy on the bus last night? And he was driving it the night before. He practically turns jet or pure white. I mean, he's just like, holy shit, man, you took that on this bus last night. He said, I could not have missed him. He's because the camera was right in front of him on the upper deck.
Yeah.
He says, I couldn't have missed him. I never saw him. He said, I'm really glad I'm going on vacation tomorrow.
What?
The crap out of him. He did not see the guy. And like I said, the kid next to him could not have seen this guy. Impossible. So I sashay my little butt home and get home. They went in the backyard or whatever, probably had a cigar. And I went to bed. Whatever. Next night, I start hearing what sounds like howling of a wolf. I mean, it was like it was like, and I'm going, that's really creepy after what I saw. Lasted for a few nights, this howling sound. I showed a friend of mine, Kat Hansen, interesting person. She swears it's a skinwalker.
Yeah.
I showed her the picture. She said, yeah, that's one of them. She
What?
used to live on, there's these wetlands in Vegas. You go down Flamingo all the way and you get Boulder Highway. And right around there, there's these wetlands. And she used to live there. She says, oh, yeah, he probably lives in the wetlands. Whether that's true or not, don't.
Oh, did we lose ya?
Oh, is your internet okay?
Oh, hold on.
You got me now?
I got you
Am I
now.
back?
I got you now.
And
Oh
we
no,
have
the skinwalkers don't want us they don't want us revealing our secrets.
uh we have it's horrible. Anyway, so probably maybe the creepiest part of this whole story. Within the next 2 nights, I run into this woman I'm friends with on the bus. Because you get a regular clan that goes up and down the bus always at the same time. I don't know, probably around 11 or whatever. And I'm talking to her about stuff. I said, and I hadn't told her. We were just talking about stuff. She knew I had interest. Anybody knows me long enough. At some point, I'm going to open my pie hole about weirdness. She says, I got to tell you something really weird. I said, what? She says, me and my husband, this is a creepy story. Cat lovers, cover your ears. She said, me and my husband went in the backyard and their cat had its guts ripped out.
Oh no.
And they lived within a few blocks of where I was hearing. So then I told her, I said, oh my God. I said, did you hear me talking about this at all? She swore she didn't. And I said, then I told her the story and she said, oh my God. And then it ended. Mr. Walker went back down wherever he was from, and I never saw him again, never heard the howling again. It was pretty freaking weird, to say the
That's
least.
so strange.
It's
That's
very
spooky.
strange. So maybe we're gonna have to make this the bus episode. I don't know. I want to tell you about the show, but the bus stuff is very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we could always because I mean, you said 8 years, right? In the haunt.
Yes.
Yeah, so we might have to make that like a two-parter. So that's totally fine. So we'll do
It's a
like the
lot.
bus
It's a lot.
adventures into
Bus adventures
haunt.
is crazy. Because that was one of the things on the bus.
Okay.
The next thing on the bus, and I've had so much stuff. I know I should write a journal. I used to write a journal, then I got lazy.
You should.
And now it's like, oh yeah, I remember. What happened? Oh yeah, that alien. But that guy. I was standing once again on Flamingo and the Las Vegas Boulevard, waiting for the bus. And I see this very tall, slender woman standing there. And she was attractive, but for not the first time this happened, I was just drawn to her. I was just like, and I'm the first to admit I'm a horrible flirt. I am. Relatives have told me do not flirt with my friend. That's a true story. So I'm standing there, and I'm looking at her, and like I said, really tall and very thin. And as I'm getting ready to, put my smooth moves on, which would have dialed it, she'd have fainted probably. He sees this guy all of a sudden shows up. He's standing in like the gutter along the sidewalk of where this big bus is going to be coming out. And I felt like saying, buddy, you do know this is Flamingo in Vegas. There's a couple cars. So he hops on the sidewalk, and he's with her. And I'm like, foiled again. And he's this little guy, really short guy. And they're conversing. But it just seems different, weird. So we get on the bus. He comes with me upstairs, and she doesn't come up. So I figure, oh, she's staying downstairs. So I get to, once I get Jones, which is where I got off, and they're getting off the same place. While I come down, before the bus gets to the stop, I hear her talking to the bus driver. Well, asking him weird questions. She tells him, well, I'm not from around here. And that's when my antenna's going, I think you really aren't from around here. And he's just acting weird. So behind me comes her compadre, the little short guy. And so we get off the bus. Same time. She gets on the bus. I get on the bus. Other guy gets on the bus. She starts to walk down Flamingo.
Okay.
And she's gone.
What?
She is. And I'm going. And I've had a few vanishing people. One was I told you about the guy here. That's not the first. I've had several, actually. But she is gone. And I'm looking all over the place, and there's nowhere she could have hid or gone. There's nothing. I mean, you couldn't go anywhere. And I'm like, this is really, really weird. Okay. Meanwhile, he starts trekking through the parking lots of Smith's, where I was headed. Gonna go to Smith's, get something to eat. So he goes in first. I was friends with this guy that worked there, sometimes sat by the door, and utters something to the guy. And I said, what did that guy say? He says, I couldn't make out a word of what he was saying. He said, it just sounded like gibberish. So then I go in. He's already in the store. And this has happened before to me. It's like I completely forget. Like I completely forget about this guy. I'm not looking for him in the store. It's like I don't remember him. It's like I gone. So I get in line, and I can feel him. The register behind me. I'm standing there, checking out, and I can feel his eyes. I turn around, and he's just glaring at me.
Ooh, oh no.
From the register behind me. And I mean, he is glaring at me like I hate look. I don't even know you, buddy.
He's like, I know that you know. Like,
yeah,
I know something is that something's up.
Something's up. And so I go, okay, you are going out first. Be my guest. So he goes out the door. I wait 10 seconds. I go out the door. Oof. He's nowhere to be seen. What? He is gone. Here, there was like they call them, what do they call it? They're casino kind of. Because in Vegas, there's a lot of weird casino stuff that isn't. Well, anyway, I thought, well, maybe he went in there. He would have been really fleet of foot because we were talking like 10 seconds. He'd have a sprint into this place, and he had a buzz to get in at night. And I'm going, so I stood there. You can see everything from outside. I'm looking in it. He's not in there.
That's crazy.
So I'm walking home. It's about from the Smiths to where I lived, half a mile, maybe a little
Okay.
more. Anyway, I'm walking home and I just got the heebie-jeebies the whole way home. I'm going, I don't like this. And I'm turning around every 5 seconds. And most of the stuff usually doesn't bother me. This guy, so I'm turning around, I'm looking, nothing. I get home and in the bedroom, and the kitchen was like right in front practically. And I get in there, and the light in the kitchen was on the motion thing, but there wasn't anything in there. Keeps going on
Uh,
and off, and on and off. And I'm going, that little fucker came on with kids. I didn't say that. Uh, so then it finally stopped. Never saw him, never saw her again.
so
But
what's your
that
theory? Like, what do you think that they were?
aliens,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what I was kind of thinking because I'm like just the between the gibberish and the
yeah,
like we're not from around here, like it seemed very
yeah.
investigative.
And there's this guy Charles White, who I went to go see, who would be interesting for you to have on. Um, he actually lives in Albuquerque.
Okay.
He worked at what naval base? Indian Springs in Vegas. And
Okay.
I went to see him do a speech, and he claimed, and he's an older guy now, but he claimed to have befriended what's called the Tall Whites, which he claims is still in Vegas. Tall white aliens. He says they can look just like people. Um, he said they even go. He said they like to go into casinos in the middle of the night and they put on a hat and all this. He says, and people don't even know there's something different. Once again, myself, I don't
Mm.
know, but that's one of the first things I thought about with her. At least she was tall. I'm 6'2". She was right there
Yeah.
with me. I mean,
But
she's a
he
tall
was
lady.
different. He was a much different build, a much different attitude, it almost
Much
seemed
different
like.
build, much different attitude. Yeah, because she was very friendly. He was friendly with her. And also, when they got off the bus, why did one, if they were together, why did one, ixnay on the ixnay that way, and him going to Smith's? And that's right, he didn't even buy anything at Smith's. He didn't even have anything. Um, it was very, very weird because in the register
God.
behind me, as I recall, this was a long time ago, there wasn't even a cashier there. He was just standing there, giving me the heebie-jeebies, and I could still see him,
Ugh.
just glaring at me, and I was like, okay. So yeah, then the next night I came in and talked to the guy a little more about it, and he thinks all my stuff is crazy. I never had him. He believed 100% that I was off my rocker cause I told him a few things, and he says I don't believe any of that stuff. I said, well, you don't have to. And I
To each
told him
their
the story
own.
about I told him the story of these two, and I said, you saw the guy. I said, and you knew what he said to you. It made no sense. And you still think what? He was just a normal guy? Oh yeah. I said, oh, okay. But some people, that's how they are. They can, no matter what happens, they're not going to believe. They're
They're
not.
like, oh, that table's not levitating. It's just gravity. And it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
it's funny. I didn't know gravity did that, but
you're right. Yeah, no matter what happens, no matter how extreme, some people you're never going to convince them. Their mindset is such that it's beyond their realm. Um, but that's the way it goes.
oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
I quit trying to convince people because unless they see something, and then like I said, even then it doesn't always work. But that was two encounters on the bus. And I'm trying to think because there's even more. But the creepiest one of all, and I don't know, I'm assuming this guy was just, the devil himself. Uh, I hop on the bus. Bus is very full.
Okay.
These really pretty young ladies are back there with this guy who looked like Tony Montana.
Okay.
Across him was this black guy,
Okay.
and as I get on, I sit in front of him. I think one or two rows in front of him, and I hear them start going at it. Black guy who was the good guy, apparently an ex-marine, is trying to get him to chill out on hitting up on the women. And I guess that he was using very vulgar language. And he turns over and looks at this guy and pick a swear word, any swear word, and it came out of his mouth. Pick an N word and the N word, and it came out of his mouth. He told them, all you stinking N's, you all stink, you all smell, blah, 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 blah. And he's going on and on. Everybody but one idiot, that being me, left the bus. He's the scariest person in my entire life that I have ever seen that would be closest to the devil was this guy. And once again, on this freaking bus line. So we're going up the street and they're just going back and forth and back and forth, back and forth. Finally, Mr. Tony Montana says, you know, when this bus gets off, I'm going to kill you. And I'll be sitting like, he did just say he's going to kill him, didn't he? Maybe it's time I get my ass off this bus. No,
Oh
I
my
stayed on the
God.
bus. And I believe that the reason I stayed there, and everybody else either got off or went upstairs. It was literally only three of us on the bottom level. Because this time the pack was so packed, I just stayed on the bottom level. Sometimes I would do the bottom. Anyway, so we're going up the street, and this young white girl gets on and comes back, and I'm looking at her. I said, upstairs. I said, do not go here.
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh, I think this is fun. Oh, I love to see things like this. Oh, I think this is really going to be neat. And I'm looking at her. You do not want to be done.
What?
So she sits right across from me, the next aisle, behind, in front of. He lasted maybe half a block. She looks at me. Her eyes are like, she says, "Thank you so much," and she went upstairs. She literally
Yeah.
lasted half a block. So these two are going at it all once again, all the way up to Bill Jones. This poor guy, the Marine guy, tells him, you know, I'm a Marine. He said the black guy, or the other guy, basically, I don't give enough what you are. I'm going to kill you. And the black guy, who is, you know, real bravado at the beginning, I felt so bad for this guy. He was scared to death because you'd swear that the devil himself was sitting on that bus. Scariest person I've ever seen in my life. And in Vegas, I knew a lot of mob guys. Like I've been friends with a Russian mob guy, and from East Oakland. So I know a lot of none could hold a candle to this guy.
So he was
And
just cold and dark.
cold and the darkest soul I've ever seen in my life. The black guy is yelling to the bus driver, who's actually a really nice guy, but he says, "Man, driver, do something." He says, "Dude, I'm just the driver." He says,
Yeah.
"There's nothing I can do." That's why I realized, why don't buses have panic buttons? Doesn't make any sense.
I
All
mean,
buses, yeah, have a panic button to go straight to the cops, and then they can come over.
yeah.
So I got off the bus. I called 911, got this jerk of a dispatcher, and I'm trying to tell her, "You got to get out here right now." He told the guy he's going to kill him. And she kept going on. I said, "Listen, the bus is headed westbound up Flamingo. You have to get here now." Because this guy was serious. He said he was going to kill him. I don't know if she ever took me serious. I don't know if she ever dispatched anything. Once again, just weird. He was like,
Yeah.
it's like, "I'm not getting through to you, am I, honey?" I guess it was so weird. I went home and I had the shakes. I was just more than aliens. This was way more scary than aliens, ghosts, anything. That's probably the scariest thing I've ever encountered. And I believe the only reason I was the only idiot that stayed on the first level was for that girl.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be there to tell her to get upstairs. Because you know, in the ensuing days, I went, why in the world did your dumbass stay on the bottom level of that bus? I never intervened because it was like, wouldn't have done any good. You know, he would have been another guy for, you know, Tony Montana to kill.
But I feel like nosiness, like, what is that saying? Curiosity killed the cat. It's
Yeah,
so
it kind of
true
was.
because like I mean, as much as I want to say that I'm not nosy, I'm nosy. Like just like anybody else. Like if I'm sitting on a bus and I see this going on, I'm gonna be like, I kind of want to know what's going on. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I mean, if it started getting that serious, I'd probably be like, maybe that's my cue to leave.
Well, it should have been my cue. I mean, how do I know he didn't bring a gun out or a
True.
knife or anything?
People are
But
nuts.
he was courteous enough to say he'd kill him when they got off the bus. That was nice.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a courteous maniac. But he was. That was incredibly scary. And I know
Oh,
there's more, but at this moment, that's all I can remember. As I remember more, we'll have more travels on the bus. But I always thought I should be having this deal going. But for every 50 drives, maybe one would happen.
yeah.
It's like so many people tell me they'd love to come over here. We want to come over your house. We were dying to experience the stuff with you. And I tell everybody, it's about the same thing. You might have 50 nights. You're going to be sitting here, Kurt, you're full of shit. There's nothing. You
Yeah.
leave, and the next night something's going to happen. And then I'll usually have what happens to me usually happens in clusters. Then I'll have a
Yeah.
lot of stuff. And then, like now, for instance, there hasn't been. I don't think. I'm not sure. Anything major, at least lately, because it does go in. It's bizarre. It's always been that way, and a lot of people who have encounters say the same thing. That it's like
Yeah.
in clusters. They come by to visit, then they got to go back home. So that's the end of the hauntings or whatever. At least here.
Yeah. But I mean, you
So
hear a lot of investigators even say that too. Like they'll say, what you see on TV is like 4 or 5 months worth of work. Like
yep,
it's not, things don't just happen like consecutively, like 7 nights in a row. It's like, you do a month of work and you maybe get 2 hours of
if
like
you're
usable
lucky.
footage. Yeah, if you're
Yeah,
lucky. So,
yeah,
I mean, that makes sense.
that's why the ghost hunters that on TV, some of them that show up and oh wow, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just how it works. Yeah. Are you there? Yes. Oh, yeah. Good God. Now, I'm not saying they don't get responses at times, but it's pretty rare because
Yeah.
I've heard for a spirit to contact you takes a lot of energy on their part, that
Yeah.
it's very, very, very hard. That's
Yeah.
why on the next episode, maybe here'll be the teaser. We'll bring us up at the end, the telephone machine, answer machine.
Yes.
That is maybe my all-timer. I'm not sure. That might be my all-time story. Um, that is incredibly creepy. But anyway, we still got a ton of time, so I guess I could jump into the show.
Yeah, yeah, let's get into it. So let's start
Okay.
with how did you like so what really propelled you into the world of becoming a haunt actor?
Nothing. Uh, I was I was on a computer in my bedroom. It was a warm day in Las Vegas. Mr. Mayne was on his computer. Zoom in, Mr. Mayne looking on the computer. And I was on Craigslist, which I was lived on, trying to find something. And I see this ad. Madame Tussauds is, launching a horror show and they're looking for auditions. Well, I was, my daughter's, Dad, what? I said, oh my God, come here. She sees it. I said, I got to do this. I said, I've got to try for this. Holy smokes. Because my younger daughter, also a horror junkie.
Okay,
She,
okay.
from, once again, thanks, Pops. And I was just like, oh, man. Now, the audition was in a couple of days. That was it. So it was like, I don't have any headshots. I don't have any resume, and what am I going to do? So in the interim, in those 2 days, first of all, I rented every Universal, because Universal Studio was the first sponsor of the show.
Okay.
And I thought what we were going to have, which we did kind of, but I figured it would be Dracula, Werewolf. So I'm renting all these movies, right? And I'm walking around the house, master. Yeah, kind of look into my eyes. My poor daughter, I'm like growling like the wolf man. I'm like, I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be so ready for this interview audition. I'm going to knock it out of the park. So, what do I do for headshot? Well, my daughter, I think, came up with the idea. We had a little one of those Instamatic Kodak films,
Okay.
cameras, where and out comes your little picture. So she took 2 pictures of me standing on the wall outside the apartment. And okay, now I need a resume. All right, so I hand wrote a resume, and you have to see my handwriting to understand. Ooh, I flunked. I flunked penmanship in high school, in elementary school. True story. So
So what you're saying is you should have been a doctor.
I should have been a doctor. You know the messages I sent you. I'm not even writing them, and they're all goofy. So I handwrite it.
Okay.
My acting experience. I embellish just a little bit. I
That's a
hadn't acted.
resume, right?
I hadn't acted since high school.
Okay.
This is the most incredible story. This whole thing is just, they wouldn't believe this probably as you made it a movie. All right, this happened. Yeah. But I told him, I was in, whatever, My Fair Lady in Oakland Hills. There was an amphitheater in Oakland. I was this, I was that, I was this, I was that. In reality, no. So day comes for the audition. So I go down there at Madame Tussauds, which I'd never been. Well, no, actually, I had been in there once before. That's a story to be later in the tale. I get lost trying to get into the place. So
Oh no.
I'm like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? Because they weren't. It's kind of hard to find where the office is if you didn't know where they were. So I'm
Okay.
going here, I'm going there, I'm going here, and I know. I think finally I asked somebody, oh, you just go right up there. Okay. So I went up, and that was pretty cool for something you want. Because the more you want it, the more pressure you put on yourself, the more stress
Yeah.
you. But for some reason with this, it was almost like I knew. It was
Yeah.
weird. Over 200 people showed up to audition for this thing. They came from LA to audition for this thing
What?
with their fancy, headshots, an actual headshot, go figure, and an actual resume. I go in and I meet Linton Harris, who's one of the angels of my entire life. He was the man
Oh.
who put it together. Linton Harris, if you look him up, has done a ton of horror stuff all over the world. I think now he's in Mexico. He's always somewhere else. And I got him on Facebook, and I'm always checking out where he is. And more energy. This man has more energy. He could light the strip. I mean,
What?
he's the most energetic man. He's either Australian or British. I think Australian, but anyway, just a voltage coming out of the guy, the energy. So I meet him. I come into his office with a table. And turns out it was the manager's office. And Linton's there. This woman from the UK, who I fell in love with her naturally. And this other guy from the UK. Nice people, really nice people. And I'm already, let me at it, Matt. I'll show you what Frankenstein is, buddy. You don't do any of that stuff. You don't do anything like that. You don't do anything scary, as it turned out. Said, what you have to do, you have to get furiously mad at me. You can't swear, which you can tell from me, that's not that easy. You can't swear, you can't hit the table. You just have to use your emotions and just go crazy mad at me. So I went crazy mad at him. I mean, oh my God, I told him, blah, 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 blah. You foreigners come over here. You think you can run everything. You're doing this show. I said, and if I don't get it, I got to go home and tell my daughter, and I'm going to put it on you that I didn't get this. And I'm screaming and yelling. They came and shut the door. All the other officers had taken so much noise. Oh, I
Yeah.
was going to nail this. This was like, nah, you want me to get crazy? I'll go crazy. And I was done. The woman looks at me and says, "Oh, good." And that's like, oh my God, I was floating on a cloud. And Lynn says, "Bravo." He says, "That was really good." So he says, "Go sit out there and we're going to talk and I'll come out." So I went and sit out there, and there were these 2 guys that were out there. Can't believe you used your daughter in this. I said, "Whatever it takes, buddy."
Yeah. It's showbiz. It's showbiz,
Yeah,
baby.
show what you do, whatever you got to do. So Linton comes back out holding my snapshots and the handwritten resume. He says, anybody that had the balls to show up with these And this, as your resume, I got to give a shot to.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what he said. I'll never forget it. And I'm laughing. Oh my God. I said, thank you. So
That's awesome.
gonna
That's
get the call.
honestly like that's such an awesome victory story.
It is like, oh my God. I thought when he came out and said, anybody who had the balls to show up with these, I figured he was gonna say, no, sorry, can't do it. No, it was the opposite. Linton
Yeah, well,
saw
because your
the,
performance was awesome.
yeah. Well, you got the, I'm good at being crazy. Uh, so I went home and I'm waiting for that call back. Oh man, I'm so jazzed. I'm telling my daughter, we're not in. Got to do the callback, another audition, but way smaller amount. And the callback's supposed to be in, I think, in 4 or 5 days. Well, it gets to be like the day before. So I called him up. I said, "Hi, this is Kurt Mayne, blah 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 blah." Linton said I was going to be in the callback, but I've never gotten a call. This is where he was fate. This I believe 100%. I was supposed to be in this. This was absolutely meant to be. The dark forces and everything. I was supposed to be in this thing. And she said, "Well, just wait a minute." And Linton was there. She says, she comes back. She says, "Oh my God." She says, "He's flabbergasted. He forgot to call you." Yeah, of course you're at the callback. So a couple of days later, after that, is the callback. So we have the callback in a ballet studio um, in Vegas, obviously. And I don't know how many people were there. Way, way, way less. It was two segments. There might have been 50 people, maybe less. And we're in there. And this one I was a little nervous about because then I realized I'm with everybody's, these are all polished actors, blah, blah, blah. You hear them talking about, hey, how's your Shakespeare going? And I'm sitting there going, oh, all right. Yeah. So everybody had something different. So
Okay.
Little goes to me, he says, "Kid, judging from your audition, I don't think this is going to be a problem, but I want you to be a homeless man. A homeless man, maybe with a mental problem or whatever, okay." So I go, I'm going to get this. I am going to be in this show. And I start crawling on the floor on my hands and knees. I'm crawling on the floor, just crazy. And I look at somebody's shoes. I go up to the shoes and I lick their shoes.
Are you serious?
Serious. And of course, some guy who's like, "Oh man." And Lynn says, "Oh Lord," he says, "That's enough." He says, "That's enough." And I knew
That's
I
because you dedicated yourself to that part. I mean,
dedicated. I was going, I don't care what it took. I was going to get that role. And left not knowing still, you still didn't know. I had a pretty good hunch because some of them were just really stunk. The one thing I learned in 8 years of the horror trade, horror is a whole different ball of wax. You might be able to
mm-hmm.
be the most romantic actor of all time or actress, Romeo and Juliet, whatever, But when it comes to horror and not scripted, that's the thing. Unscripted horror. In my 8 years, taught me one thing. It is harder. It's hard as hell for most people to get that dark. Is
Yeah.
do it right, which is what I did. I went way down.
I was gonna say you reached into the pits.
I reached into the pits every single show. I was down and I was just dark. The guy who commented on it today on the page,
Yeah.
Scott. I met Scott. He was a customer from Texas,
Okay.
and we're still friends. He came in and he paid me one of the biggest compliments. He says, "Man, you were evil incarnate." And
Oh,
I
I
was like,
love it.
I said, "Oh man," he says, "You were pure evil in that show." And I was like, "Oh, thanks, man."
Like that's
Uh,
what I was going for, you know.
I was kind of like, yeah, well, he's a big horror junkie too, and he does horror shows and stuff in
Oh,
Texas.
cool.
Really nice guy. He's a veterinarian, I believe, but he's
Oh,
a really cool dude, and we've stayed in touch now for a long time. Um, but anyway, that's what I learned was that the number of actors that came and go, of course, they're going to watch this thing and say, we'll never talk to Kurt again. In the 8 years, I don't know how many actors. We had 100, 200. We had a lot of actors would come and go. Most couldn't take it. Vast majority couldn't take it. You're in the dark all the time.
Yeah.
Dimly lit, but it's, not many horror shows, or, a picnic table, it was dark. You had the morgue. You had in the back, you had this cage. In the last show, was cage. And it was all the same configuration, just different people. New Line took it, Universal took it, and the last one was just off the cuff, and that was called Scream, the last incarnation of the show. But the vast majority just couldn't do it. Most of them were. I'm not gonna lie, most of them were horrible.
Oh no.
If I was to cast it, I would have kept maybe 3 of us, maybe 3 or 4. One of my best friends, Brian, was really, really, really good. And a few others, but there weren't a lot. And it was a tough role for anybody shorter, just the way this thing was set up. So anyway, back again. I'm at home waiting for the call. Do I get it? Do I not get it? Because I'm sure I knocked it up hard. But I knew enough about auditions and stuff because I'd done auditions. I just never got the role. It's not like I didn't act. I tried. No, I tried musicals. In high school, I was actually the lead in a musical. And if
Okay.
you hear me sing, it's like a cat screeching. I'll never forget it. To this day, one of my friends said, when you came back on the stage, the woman behind me said, "Oh no, not him again." Yeah, my son.
That's fantastic.
I wasn't going to rival Elvis anytime soon, but for some reason, I got the role in that. So, and I auditioned for other musicals, thinking, "Well, I did that." So, and I never got cast. Anyway, so I'm at home, and the phone rings, and it's the lady who is head of personnel. Tells me, "This is the part I love. I get to call people and tell them, welcome to Madame Tussauds. You're in." And it's one of the happiest moments of my entire life. I mean, literally of my
Oh.
entire life. This show meant that much to me. I can't put it into words how much I loved this show. It was just, and for most of the other actors, it was just a gig, For me, this was
Yeah.
to be a horror show for a living. Oh my God. And it was just, I literally can't put it into words. It was an act of love. And when she called, I was just, oh my God. I went to pick up my daughter from her school, and I was just like, of course, I thought he said we were getting 50 an hour. It turned out I got 14 an hour. So that
Oh
was
no.
a little, yeah, it wasn't too much for really show. But yeah, I got 8 years. I think I went up to 16, maybe. They weren't too good on raises. But it wasn't a matter of the money. I would never, ever have left that show. I'd still be in it today if they didn't
Oh.
pull
But
it.
you found something that you loved.
Oh my God, it was absolutely wonderful. Let me see. What else? I did this today, doing everything down here. And okay, so Lynn tells me the callback. Okay, callback makes it. Okay, so I'm in. Bang. We go 40 hours at a scare. He called it scare school. You've got a week of learning to be scary, and there's so much to learn, like running up to people and stopping right when you get to them, so you didn't hit them. Yeah. Doing the freeze work. Oh my God, the freeze was it. And it's hard. It is hard, to look like a wax figure, because you
Yeah.
stand out front as the usher role, and every now and then you do the freeze. And I did the freeze this one time, and this guy comes in, looked like a banger with his girlfriend. He looked like a banger. I'm standing there. He comes right up to me. He kisses me on the cheek. And I went, oh, again. He falls down, slides back. The girlfriend almost dies. He's laughing so hard.
Oh my gosh.
That was my favorite. Oh, and he took it great. I mean, he's just laughing, and I would never break character. I only broke character a couple times when I thought somebody was near danger. Um,
Yeah.
other than that, no, I would. He's laughing. I'm trying to. I'm falling inside. I'm falling apart. But I'm like,
So what else did they teach you at Han School? That's pretty neat.
running up to people. The breathe, which I did a lot. Nobody else would do it because of fear of getting hit. I got hit more than anybody. I got hit. I got cut above the eye, a good cut. That's when I was Leatherface. This woman popped me one. I
Oh
could tell she cut
no.
me good. And that's when I would break character, when I would be hit. We don't need to go into the language I used. But when I would get hit on, I would go berserk.
No.
What I would do, I'd come up from behind you. I'm a
Okay.
big guy. There's
See,
always
it was
sound
a
effect.
startle factor.
There's sound of it. I'd come on and breathe right here.
Oh, that
Oh,
would get me. I would be like,
yeah. Between that and the, oh my God.
oh.
People would die. Um, this one group, well, actually, this happened a lot of times, but this one in particular, there's a group of 4 black ladies,
Okay.
and we're in the morgue area. And you'd come behind this an area where they can't see it, and you'd come out. So I did my little tippy toe out and got them. And oh my God, they fall on the cement.
No.
The floor was cement. They hit the deck. Their flip-flops go flying. I get on the deck with them, and I'm crawling like behind them.
Oh no.
And Scott, a guy who's also in the show, comes running from the back. He saw so much fun. He gets on the floor and he starts crawling after them. And oh my God, they're screaming. They're hysterical. They go running out the front. You hear the door, bang, and they go busting out the front. And this was the first time I did something that became my trademark. I like to lick. Well, never mind. Sandals were down there. I pick up the sandals and I go running out. I go out front. I open the door slowly. I go like this. And the lady says, "No, we're not getting it. Do you want this?" So she comes up for the sandal. I put the sandal up. And like I licked this. She screams. They're all like, "Oh my God, that's disgusting." And I threw the sandal.
Oh my gosh.
Recently, I never licked it, but I was pretty good at it. I did that a lot because what a great effect. Oh my
Because
God.
it's so creepy. It's
It's
just
so creepy.
like,
It's like, this guy's licking the bottom of your shoe.
ugh.
And I made sure never to actually, never made contact. But yeah, that was a great scare. Oh my God, that freaked him out so much. And nobody else would do it. I would go these places where nobody else would. Brian was the closest. As far as going to these really extreme places. I was in the back once. Let me scare school. We still were done with scare school.
Yeah.
And you learn to do stuff in the pitch black. They turn the lights all out, so it's pitch black. You learn to do stuff in the pitch black to come up to people and not touch them, because that's the big thing. You couldn't, that's a big donut. You get in a lot of trouble. And
Yeah.
all my years, I never did. I got, like I said, I got hit, but I don't think I ever banged into anybody except for, breathing on their neck, which is incredibly gross. um, but and how to talk, the mannerisms to use. Linton is a master. He is so good at this. Not everybody soaked it up. Every word was golden for me. I listened to everything because I knew this guy. He knows what he's talking about. This is a wizard.
Yeah.
They brought in people from the Wax Museum and had them come in as customers. And there was a couple that were just so skittish. And I was just scaring the crap out. I'm sorry, I realized I'm going to be good at this. This is and at 40 hours, 8-hour days. And then on the last day, he says, well, in order to be scary, you've got to get scared. we all pile into the cars. We go down to the Stratosphere in Vegas.
Okay.
Stratosphere is the one that goes way up.
Way up, yeah.
I detest heights with a
Okay.
passion. I really, no, I melt. So we go up to the top of the Stratosphere, and you're looking over that. I was like,
Oh,
Linton's taking all these rides. One is the roller coaster that goes out over the edge and goes,
yeah, yeah, I've seen that.
he's in the front row laughing and waving his hands like, that's Linton. And I'm going, I ain't
He's a
doing none of
thrill
that.
seeker.
I'm going, ain't no way in heaven or hell I'm going to do any of these. I made a deal with another guy at the show, JP, that, no, we're not going to do any of these. And he had to go pick up his daughter, so that's his way to get out of it. And I stayed, and this one, I forget what her name was, one of the regional guys, she says, Kurt, you got to do something. This last one, this isn't so bad, okay? This is not that bad. Well, it's called Big Shot. I don't know if you know which one that is. It's
Is
the
that
one
like a
that
slingshot?
oh, it goes like you're practically up there with airplanes. You are so high, and I'm like, I said no to everything, but the one that you absolutely don't do.
Oh no.
I'm holding this young lady's hand so hard. We go, it stops halfway, then back up to the top. And I got to tell you, at the top, it was just like so cool. Total silence. I mean, nothing. It was so neat to be that far up. You know, I expected an airplane to hit me on the way up. And then we come down and she says, can I have my hand back? And I didn't even know it. I'm grabbing her hand.
Oh
I
my
said,
gosh.
oh, I'm so embarrassed. But I was so glad I did it because I got to brag a little bit. Well, I didn't know any, but I did do Big Shot. And it is, so that was his idea of, it's scary. It worked. It definitely did.
Team bonding.
Yeah, team bonding. Oh, he was great at that. We all went to lunches. Um, it was very good. He was the best. The ones that took over for him, not quite as good. But he was the best. He just was such a whiz.
Now, did he
So,
see over like multiple like Madame Tussauds? Because oh, okay. Because I wasn't sure if he was like a traveling kind of like show manager. Because I remember it was the only time I've ever seen like a haunt at Madame Tussauds because I grew up by New York. So
okay,
we would go to the one in New York all the time, and they had it's when that movie Van Helsing came out.
yes.
They had the Van Helsing haunt, and I just remember that traumatized me. There was like head on spikes, and like everything looked so real. Like they had like blood dripping from there, like, and it was like trickling, and I'm like, is this fake or like I was like I don't like this.
Oh, I had theater blood everywhere. Oh my God. I had it all over. Oh my God. I had inverted crosses. Oh, I went crazy.
It was so
Um,
realistic though.
yeah, I've never been to that one. He may have been connected with others. I'm not sure because he's more of doing his own thing. Um, and he's done everything. He was trying to sell this shark idea, which he may have done on what's the show where all the panel decides if they're going to give you money to sponsor you. What's that
Mm.
show? Anyway,
Shark
he was on
Tank?
that. I mean,
Shark Tank?
yes,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and he was trying to do something involving sharks, I believe, with a game show or something. And they seemed interested, but I don't think it ever took off. But that was Linton, and he was on there. Oh my God! Like I said, the energy this guy has is amazing. Um, he may have been connected with other shows. I shouldn't say no for sure because I'm not sure. With ours, once it was done, and once he left, that was it. He
Okay.
came in once. He came in back to visit once, and my head grew even more. He he was in the dressing room, and I was Leatherface at the time. And I came in the dressing room, big hug, and he looks at me and says, the others and looks at me, can I cast or what? Oh my God. I thought, oh man. I was going to go real big with the other actors in the show. But anyway, which was one of the things in the beginning of the show. There was one guy in particular when we were at the top of stratosphere because I got looks. Everybody's a small community. And who's this schmo? Who's this big schmo? What the hell? And I was no kid then even. It was like, what the hell? And this one guy, he was a total snob. We ended up being buddies, kind of. But so, Kurt, I'm just wondering, what else have you done? Of course, I'm in the show, so there's no reason to lie. And I said, basically, nothing.
Oh,
And
feel
it's
like
like,
cat's out of the bag.
that's like the cat's out of the bag. Nah, kind of nothing. And he was like, really? I said, what have you done? And of course, he goes through, well, I've done blah, 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 blah. And everybody else in the show, blah, blah, blah. And then the schmo. And and I got, in the beginning of the show, I got a hard time. A lot of them gave me a hard time. That didn't last long. But when it was, I guess that was just motivation for me to be even better. And so the show started, opening night of the show. Oh, before that, we do media stuff,
Okay.
which was interesting because Universal Studios, one thing I learned is they're cheap. They are very, very cheap. And the props they sent out were horrendous. I was hired really to be Frankenstein in the first show. I was the big
Yeah.
guy. I was supposed to be Frankenstein. Well, the props they sent out were just these rubber hands that flapped up and down at the end. And I'm wearing a mask that was so tight, I had never put this on. And so come media day, well, you got to be Frankenstein. So I lay on the metal table and everything. And the guy's leaning over me as Dr. Frankenstein. And in's coming Las Vegas Journal. I forget what all. We got a lot of PR. And they're all coming in. And I put this mask on. And I'm telling the guy, oh my God. I said, I can't have this on. I said, I can't breathe. I literally can't breathe this thing. And I'm a little claustrophobic. Heights and tight areas, not my thing. And I got this mask on. I'm like freaking out. And I said, I got to take it off. You can't, man. They're coming down the hallway. And I'm like, got it out. So I'm there. And I sit up, did the master.
Oh my gosh.
And that's what I did. Hands out with these god awful props. And that's the last time they ever had Frankenstein in the show. Because I told Lynn, I said, I can't wear it. I said, there's not a chance in the world I could wear this all day long. I said, I can't. I'll die of this thing. So the actual general manager, who I got to be really good buddies with, I'm still friends with him, Aid, wonderful guy, apparently tried it on. Because Linton went up and told him, he says, well, Kurt can't wear this. He put it on and he says, no, he can't wear this. He says, this is not allowed. So that was bye-bye Frankenstein, pretty much. But we had that. We had the media with Leatherface. And that was easy to buy, that one. But so opening night of the show. And, I realized I'm kind of still considered a long shot to stick around, I found out. And Lynn says, I said, well, what do you want me to be? Well, he says, Igor. And I go, Igor? A 6'2" Igor?
It's a little amiss, but
a little is. So sure enough, I put on the hump. We had this hump that went back here, and I'm in there, running around, and I'm screaming and yelling. I had him in that palm of my hand the first night. I'm yelling and making the fool of myself. And I guess you were supposed to be a little more down key, at least in the beginning. I changed that as time went on, but in the beginning, you're supposed to be really not much vocal. And this one woman ratted me out to Linton. Linton he told me basically, shut up. So I was like, okay. So I quit being so noisy. And Linton concentrated on me more than anybody else in the show. And I'll never forget, we were standing back by we had a Boris Karloff mummy, $250,000. What this cost. It was in a like the coffin or esophagus, I guess. And he said it was you'd swear You were looking at Boris Karloff as the mummy at 250,000. And we're standing there and he's talking to me. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to do this. And he says, I hope you don't think I'm being too, I'll never forget. He says, I hope you don't think I'm being too hard on you. He says, but I know you got it. He says, more than anybody here, I know you got it. And I said, don't ever think you're being too hard on me. Everything you say is like a pearl to me.
Yeah.
Keep telling me stuff. And he did for a while. Then he left, of course. But no, I owe a lot of it to Linton. He was just, what a master. So anyway, I was the first time out. I was Igor, and that was the last time I was. We put an end to the 6'2" Igor, and I'm trying to lean over while I'm running, and hopping up and down like Igor. It was this whole thing was just like I said. One of the guys wanted to do we talked about doing a documentary near the end or halfway, well, closer to the end, about this ragtag group of actors that got together. And first time we go in, Lyndon says, "Is the green room?" Of course, oh yeah, the green room. Oh yeah, I didn't know a green room from a purple room. I had no clue. Green room meant dressing room. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, the green room. We go in, the rugs all torn up. If you missed a step, you're going to trip on this hard floor. The makeup mirrors were these little like makeup mirrors women could use, maybe these little
Oh, like the little compacts.
Yeah, it's like little compacts, what we're supposed to put on our makeup with. And it was a shambles. In the back was the maintenance room. So the maintenance guys were coming in and out. Above us was a stairwell that the customers would come down and come around to us. So we're sitting there, and look at us, that's just falling down. And I was in heaven. And it was like part of the reason, we thought this could be hell of a story. Because who would have ever thought? Who would have ever thought from these, from a green room being like this to a bunch of actors getting together, just this thing in the last 8 years.
Yeah.
8-1. They did eventually redo the dressing room, and it was really nice then. Really nice, but tile down, actual big, the lights and everything. It was very nice dressing room. In the beginning, we
In
all
the
just came
beginning, it
into
was
it.
just like use what you have, right? Like it's kind of like a startup.
Well, the weird thing is, a lot of people are going, "This is the Strip, Las Vegas." The Strip of Las Vegas, and we look like we're in Calcutta. Oh my God, it looked horrible. But you did what what you had.
Yeah.
They did, however, do a great job of the sets on every show. The sets were really well done. They put bucks into making these sets
Okay.
look good. First one was Universal Studios. Then was New Line Cinema, where I was Leatherface. They wouldn't agree to having Freddy Krueger, so instead we had a video of him. It's like, that's kind of weird, but for some reason they wouldn't give up the rights to be Freddy Krueger. We had
Yeah.
Leatherface, Jason, and I think that was it.
I'm surprised, especially with Leatherface, because Leatherface is like, I mean, so like Freddy, Jason, Michael, Leatherface, like those are your, I guess, your core four, minus Ghostface. Like
that was it.
that's
I would have loved
your
it. I would have loved it in Michael. Oh, that would be fun.
I feel like
But
you'd make a good Michael just because like your stature, like how tall you say you are. And like I could see you doing that very like eerie, quiet,
very
like
quiet.
yeah, very, very quiet.
uh, yeah. Well, Leatherface didn't say much either, really. I came out and I did make noise, which I wasn't supposed to do, because as time went on, the Kurt not making noise went, Linton's not here. That went
Yeah.
out the door. And I would have workers, this one guy, Chuck, who passed away, unfortunately, wonderful guy. Oh my God, because I do the usher role and I was so loud. They could hear me 2 floors up in the offices.
Oh my
I
gosh.
would, And Chuck would get so mad, his face would be beet red. And he'd come, well, you have to quit making so much noise. And I said, okay, Chuck. Next group would come in, of course. I'm back to spelling. And they never said a
Sorry,
word.
not sorry.
I kind of had carte blanche to do as it went on to do whatever I wanted, as long as it wasn't over a line of, harassing or whatever, I could kind of do whatever I want.
Okay.
Because, oh my God, it was just, but the black ladies with sandals was fantastic. The other one was really, this was actually scared the hell out of me as Leatherface. This lady was back there, and I know it was a show after that. I wasn't Leatherface. You kind of at that point a crazy zombie, which was cool because I had all this. Took a while to put the makeup on, which is another story in itself. But yeah, it took a while to put the makeup on, and I had blood everywhere, and black eyes, and so this lady comes through by herself late
Ooh,
at
a
night.
brave soul. We like
Oh,
brave souls.
as it turns out, this is late at night. She walks into the cage, and I come out, and I thought she was going to have a heart attack. I really did. She almost went, starts shaking like a spasm. Stop, please stop. Oh, just crying. One of the very few times I totally broke character. I totally broke character. Stop. I said, honey, this is just a show. I'm not
Oh.
really a zombie. And I walked her out the front door, and she's still shaking
Oh,
and crying.
oh no.
And we're all going, why in the hell did she come through
Like by
this?
yourself.
Oh, yes. But that's the one I'll never forget. The other one was this lady, black lady out front. I was doing the freeze, and I broke at her, and she falls against the wall and is clutching her heart.
Oh no.
And, and I'm going, oh shit, I bit the big one this time. Down the stairs comes her husband, laughing his ass off. So I realized, okay, she's all right. So she was fine. But when
Oh,
she first did it, oh my God, I thought I finally did one in. Because I'm actually surprised nobody ever died coming through there. Because I never thought it was that scary.
well, I
I
mean,
really
that's what
did.
I always think about that because you always get the warnings. There's always warnings,
There's always
but
one.
like people are like, they're not really rules. They're kind of guidelines. So like, even though I have a major heart condition, I'm still gonna go in this haunted house. And it's like, why? Why do that to yourself?
Why do you do that to yourself? Yeah, and in the back of this last show, we had a strobe light. And
Oh, that's Seizure Central right there.
that's Seizure Central. We had the
Yeah.
strobe light. We had this alarm that would go so loud. Oh my God. Every time a group came through, it'd go bang, this explosion, and then the bang, bang, and then the strobe. Well, actually, the strobe never stopped. It went all the time. And since I'm a little claustrophobic, when that first started, I went back in that cage and I'm like, oh crap. I'm not gonna be able to do this. I gotta do it. I've done everything else. And eventually I conquered it. But it was with the strobes and everything, it was a little tricky. But that's one thing they notified everybody in front. If you got a pacemaker, and no, you cannot come in.
No.
Yeah, but that lady was she was interesting. So as the show's going on, I think I mentioned this in the last show, our last little talk. I'm out front, and it hit me. I remembered something. First time I came to Vegas, me and my kids stayed at Circus.
Okay.
Lovely place, a lovely place, not. And so we stay there. Hell yeah. First room,
Woo.
first room reeked of smoke so bad. We went in, I said, I requested no smoking room, please. So we ended up in a really nice room. So it worked out. But Circus, maybe they even improved it, but ritzy, no. Anyway, we walked down the strip. The kids went to the wax museum. Okay, I always liked wax museum, and they didn't charge what they do now, which is a lot of money. And so we go in. We're walking through it, and we're at the top level. Get to the second level, go down the stairs to where the horror show ends up being. And I can't even remember what was there. And I'm walking along. And this was the first part of when I said this was supposed to be. This was foretold in the tea leaves. You are going to be in this. I'm walking by, and I just had this feeling. It came over me like I've never had this before. You're supposed to be here. I knew I am supposed to be here. And I'm looking around, what the hell? And it wasn't like it was, I guess, a really strong premonition, but more of a, this is stone cold fact, boy. Your ass gonna be here. And
Oh,
it was exactly where the horror show ended up being. And I didn't even, it didn't dawn on me for like a year or two, maybe. And it suddenly, wait a minute. It's exactly where I had that feeling of being in the show. So I believe I was definitely meant to be there. And
you
if
were
anything else,
called there.
I was called there. And now what called me, it's a whole different ball of wax. Because one of the more interesting things is it was haunted.
I was
Haunted.
literally gonna ask that. I was gonna ask, like, I don't know what it is, but anytime I've been to a wax museum, and again, this could just be me also watching House of Wax, which is one of my favorite horror movies,
Pretty
but
cool.
I
Vincent
it
Price?
freaks me
No.
out. Huh?
House of Wax, not the Vincent Price one.
No, that one's good too, though. I mean, the original's always fantastic, but the remake of it,
I couldn't finish it. I hate to tell you.
the remake.
No, I'm a Vincent Price junkie. I mean,
Well, Vincent Price is
my
out
God,
of this world. Like, he is the OG when it comes to like
he is
classic
the.
horror.
Well,
Yes.
I'll have to try the other one again because your first movie, excellent recommendation. Um, anyway, so we were in there not too long when I started to realize, I get the feeling that we ain't alone in here. And what it was originally, that building was the Sands, which was a mob infested casino. And who knows what went on
Oh
downstairs
Lord.
in the
Probably a
Sands.
lot of stuff.
Probably a lot of stuff.
A lot of people
And that's what
sleeping
we,
with the fishes.
that's, yeah, there were a lot of sleeping with the fishes there. That's what we kind of figured was, this has got to have something to do with the Sands connection. Plus, the show itself was so dark
Yeah.
and so sinister, and it had the magnet, me, add all that together.
It's a
I'm sure
trifecta.
it's a trifecta. You're guaranteed. So the show's going on, and the things that really stand out. I was sitting in the morgue one time, and something tapped me on the back of my head, and there was nothing there. Well, that's nothing compared to the rest. Another time, my friend Lisa called me to the front to tell me her latest heartthrob, and I was out there, and from the back, from where I just left. There was only
And
one
it was nobody messing with you?
one other guy in the show, and he was in the dressing room, and I knew who it was. He was kind of not a big clown around guy. No, this was no. I told Lisa, you hear that? Oh yeah, but I got to tell you a story. So, but yeah, I was like, she did say they know your name, and I said, well, yeah, they by now they sure should. But the doozies. It was morning show, and I do my night shift, sometimes day shift. I prefer night by far because it's scarier. But it was morning. Show hadn't opened yet. I'm headed to the bathroom. Oh, backtrack. Makeup. I told you this. The makeup. Makeup. Put the makeup on, right? Feel fancy. Naturally, in the dressing room, we had our own, restroom, our own sink. No, we did not. We used the public restroom in full makeup.
You probably scared the crap out of some like unsuspecting.
Well, to take off the makeup at the end of the show, we're there wiping off all the makeup in the public restroom. I thought, could it be any tackier? One time I go in there and I'm, taking a leak. And the guy, oh, you were really good. And I turned around, Well, I take it.
Never breaking character. That
Never
is,
good character. I just, well,
I
uh,
cannot.
that was so anyway. One day I'm headed to this restroom in the morning, and uh, I noticed in the back of the show, we had doors that went in to the left, and to the left was the exit, two big doors, the exit to the show. These doors open and close. And I'm going, I didn't see anybody behind that door. And everybody else is in the dressing room. A lot of people in the Western City would not walk into the were employees and stuff would not come in. They're
Yeah.
terrified. So I'm going, what in the fiddly fool is that? So I come out of the bathroom and I go in, and it hits me, this incredible evil freeze. I mean, it's just like, oh man, just I get goosebumps. I get goosebumps right now telling you about this. And I'm just like, oh shit, pure evil, a demon, I have no doubt. And I go to the dressing room and I tell everybody, of course, they look at me like, yeah, Kurt, you're another story. Uh,
Did
you
you
know,
hear that? My phone literally just like like it flew off my table.
you serious?
Yeah, like I was sitting right here. It was like on my coffee table, and all of a sudden it was just like like I
You'll
was like,
probably have more
oh,
probably have more stuff. This one guy, Will, a real good friend of mine, did a little mini documentary on me. And while he was editing it, he had all these horrible nightmares. And he has not touched anything with me ever again. Still a good friend.
really?
Still a good friend. But he said, dude, I ain't never doing nothing with you again. He said, ask my wife, I wake up in a sweat, all these horrible visions. Yeah, I'm a ray of light.
So
So
I don't know if you can see either. So this only happened to me one other time. My light is like pulsating. And it's like it's so weird because I was like it wasn't doing this. And the last time I did this, I did a podcast episode with my cousins who I've had the most supernatural like occurrences with. And I just think it's so weird because this hasn't happened since that episode. And like my light's been fine. Like it's a brand new podcast light and everything. But every so often, depending on what I'm talking about, it like does this thing where it's like very soft, but it like pulsates. And so it's doing it. And like sometimes you can see it, but it's hard because if my background's not on, you can't see the way it's but it's freaking me out because I'm like, my cell phone just flew off the table. Now my light's pulsating. I'm like, what the hell
you'll,
is
you'll
going on, Kurt?
you'll probably have fun. I should have given you a warning before we started this. You might have some fun. Now on the set of The Exorcist, remember a lot of stuff happened on that. Well, yeah, yeah. Okay. You probably will have some stuff. But just say
Yeah,
hi.
but honestly,
Just say
I
how
was
you
like,
doing.
it takes a lot to scare me. I'm like, I'm sensitive. Like it really can't top much of what I've seen. And I figured at some point or another, especially with everybody that I've so far brought onto this show, I'm like, something's bound to happen. I still haven't even gotten my full interview yet with Ralph Sarchi, and I'm like convinced that something is like keeping us apart because every time we tried to do like an episode, the first one he kept getting like kicked off of Zoom because there was a hurricane and his power kept going out. And then we tried to reset up. We were supposed to hop on Friday and there was another hurricane. And I'm like, I'm telling you, there's some like,
Well, dark forces is as real as it gets.
I know.
I had a young lady out here who's a sweetheart. Um, wanted to do ghost hunting with me. And
Mm,
she's pretty religious from I don't know her that well. I met her at a garage sale, and we since made friends on Facebook. And she's a real sweetheart.
mm.
Oh, I want to go ghost hunting. Oh, let's go do that. We got to buy the equipment. We're going to start filming these things. And I said, well, first of all, where are we going? because people think, oh, you go to 7-Eleven when it closes, you'll run into a ghost. Well, not necessarily. And
And you got to be careful.
I deterred her by saying precisely that. I said, seemed like a very nice.
Oh, oh my gosh.
I
swear. Here we go. Here we go.
So I told her, I says, you really don't want to do this. I says, all you got to do is walk into the one place that they're not so friendly. You encounter a demon and you are never going to forget it. And it is the scariest thing you'll ever have happen. Mm-hmm. And she like, okay, that's good. No, he never pursued it anymore. I convinced her because it's like, there's people that, oh sure, come on, let's go. They're older, they're more seasoned, or like naturally, like you said, you're practically, art member. You've had a lot of experience, so that's different. But if somebody's just a brand new rookie, they've seen too many ghost adventures.
Well, my thing is people get too hype. Like they get very hyped up when things are especially in this millennial day and age, like they're very fatty, like, oh, it's a fad, it's a cool thing to do. And it's like, right. It's cool until it's not. And like the wisest thing that I ever heard somebody say on one of the episodes was, if you're gonna go looking for ghosts, like don't be afraid if you find them. And sometimes it's not always a ghost, and you truly don't know what you're walking into. Like, so I mean, if you're gonna go to a murder house, you have to know how to protect yourself. You need to, like, so it just sometimes it scares me because like I know some people are very into this kind of stuff, but if you've never experienced evil like up front and center and you don't truly know what that feels like,
it's like, oh, I watched The Exorcist, I watched this, I know what it's like. No, you don't.
No.
See, there's not a horror movie made that can scare me. No horror movie has scared me in decades. Because you get the real thing, and it's like, it's not going to scare you. But the real thing, I would have these I don't know if they're goth, I guess goth, kind of young people come into the show, and or emo, when emo was the thing. And they come in and, oh, and they'd have all their, whatever ink and everything. And I'd be like, I do it in character. But I tell them, you really don't want to go down this path in your life. I don't know if I ever got through to them, but I told a few people, because they thought they were just the darkest things. I said, you really don't want to do this. When you encounter a real demon, you're screwed. And
can I tell you that I literally just followed a Reddit, and this is just my morbid curiosity and my research with this podcast. But I listened to a podcast not too long ago, and it was I don't even know what the correct title was. There are 3 people who essentially, like, they said that they were like demonologists, but they, I guess, are sadists, and they worship and like, I'm at like a loss for words because I'm trying to figure out what the exact word that they used was, but like they were trying to justify that these, I don't like to say it too much, but the D word, that they are like ancient old creatures that are misunderstood and they just want to be understood and like all that. And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, I mean, I respectfully disagree. Like, I'm like, I don't know how you could like prick your finger, do the whole blood sacrifice thing on a candle and feel that thing behind you and not be like, ooh, something's a little off here. Like, and that's not my friend back there. Like, I just listening to it, I was like, I can't get behind that. Like, after, because I just feel like when you truly feel evil and when you come across it and you experience it, that just like it doesn't sit right with me. And I'm like, some
No, it
people,
doesn't.
yeah,
Anybody that encounters demons and thinks, "Oh, come on over for dinner, buddy," they have got to be sick, sick fucks. I'm sorry, they
I,
just got to be sick, sick, sick. But you get plenty that do that think this stuff is just the greatest thing. I think most of them have never encountered real darkness. Um, but no, it's well, look at Zach in Ghost Adventures,
yeah,
because he did Ghost Adventures in the show. There's an episode on the Wax Museum, which is pretty cool. And I had a great time with it. But he bought that house. Did you see the movie? I
the
think it was
Hell House.
did you see that? And I wasn't buying it. I was thinking this is just more, you know, but I think it's true. And you know what happened to his eyes?
Yeah, there was. I mean, he's had a lot of stuff happen.
Well, sure, he dabbles in dark, and then his museum, which I'm dying to go into. uh,
I'm gonna live vicariously through you because, like, I thought about doing it, and then I was like, I've read a lot about people coming out of that place and like having stuff attached to them, or like, I
I've
don't
got a good
know.
I've got a good friend in Vegas. I made friends with him out here. Actually, he's done a lot of entertainment stuff, and he did stuff in the. He was there as a tour guide or whatever, and he got all messed up. He got all messed. I can't remember everything that happened. A stroke, I believe. A few other things.
It's
Real,
that freaking
real.
Dybbuk box. I don't like that thing.
I no, I don't think so. Oh my god, I
No.
couldn't imagine encountering one. Did you?
Yeah.
What was the movie? There's a movie on it. Did you see the movie?
Oh, Babadook.
No, not Babadook. I love Babadook. It's great.
Isn't the
Every
Babadook? Isn't that based off the Dybbuk box?
is it Babadook?
Or am I
I'll have
think?
to
Hold
watch
on.
it again. I got two copies of it.
Or am I thinking? No, no. Actually, I might be wrong.
It's an actual horror movie that is based on the box.
Yeah, I know what you're talking because I feel like I could
Remember
see
the
it.
name of it? I had never heard of it. I'll be honest. I'd never heard of this box. And somebody mentioned it to me. So I looked up and I saw this movie and I found it either on uh, Tubi that I live on. I love Tubi. Oh, it's got the greatest horror. Oh my God. They just get off the wall stuff. Did you
That's
find
what it
it?
is. The possession.
That may
I
have been
think.
it.
I
I
think
watched
that
so
was the
many.
one I was thinking of because there was the possession, which is that's based on the Dybbuk box. But then I don't know why I said Babadook. I thought that was
No, Babadook is that
he's
tall,
like
really
Babadook.
Babadook. I love it. My wife won't watch that movie. She will not watch that at all. I don't like me to say about it. Uh,
Oh my gosh, totally unrelated, but I have to tell you this before it slips my like ADD brain, I swear. So I literally have ADD and ADHD, and so like if I don't get it off my chest, it's just gonna fly away.
I'm the same
Um
way.
But so my in-laws came down and we
Come
were eating
on.
dinner with them. And my mother-in-law was like, I really want to do an episode. Like, she's like, but I don't know like what to talk about. I was like, well, we could talk about some of like your haunted experiences and like your house. And I was like, just let the conversation flow. And she's like, oh, I do. She's like, I could tell them about like my dream that I used to have when I was little. And I was like, okay. I was like, what kind of dream was this? She's like, well, it used to happen. It was like a reoccurring dream when I was little, and it was over and over and over again. She goes, and it was like and I literally at the same time her, I said, a witch? And she goes, yeah.
So
And
this
she's
is
look
another person with the witch.
third person. So she tells me, she goes, I would be like, uh, how did she describe it? She said that she was like running away from her and she was chasing her, and as soon as she would get like up over the hill, like that she was like running away from this witch from, I think, and don't quote me on this because I didn't get all the details, but it was like the witch would then go away. So I said, okay, I said, let me just test something. So I pulled out the picture that I showed you that John Bullard had
That
had.
freaked the hell out of me.
Well, I showed her and she goes, yeah. She's like, that's her. And I literally go, I was like, I have to delve into this. And the next time I talk to Kurt, I have to tell him this because the third person,
That's wild.
isn't that weird?
That is pretty wild. Well,
I,
that picture that gave me the willies, and I like I say, I'm tough to scare because I've had a lot. We haven't even touched on it, uh, and that gave me the. I saw that drawing is like that is really creepy. I don't remember the mask part,
yeah,
but other than that, that was pretty spot on because the hat, she was on a roof.
yeah.
In most of my dreams, she was on the roof. Uh, weird.
I just think I was like, there's gotta be because like I see a lot of videos again, just in my research of people that have very similar occurrences. Like people would talk about I'm trying to think of a good one to kind of pull. So like people who get in really bad car accidents, they say that there's this phenomenon that occurs of a person that sits in the back of the wreckage with them until help comes. And then when they talk about it, the person's gone. So like in my head, I've been trying to like research this and I'm like, how many people around the world have had a reoccurring dream of this witch? How many people or what drawings can I find that I can compare it to? And I'm
Be a
like,
witch researcher.
I'm gonna research this because I'm like, it was weird enough. Like when I first heard it, I was like, ooh, that's so creepy. Then you started saying it, and I was like, okay, that's a little
I
too weird for
remember
me.
you're
Like I
like,
was like, that's two people. And then as soon as she started to talk at the table, like we're in the middle of dinner, I thought I was gonna choke on my steak. I was like, I like looked up from my plate like really slow, and I was like, a witch. As soon as she said it, she goes, yeah. And she's looking at me like, how did you know what I was gonna say? And I was like, you're like the third, fourth person that's told me about this reoccurring witch dream, and now I'm gonna have to
did she
dive
have hers
into
when
it.
she was a child too?
Yep. She was a child.
What a trip. Well, that is trippy.
It's weird.
It's real because I had never heard anybody else.
I never heard of it, period. Like, so now it
Okay, well,
makes me think, I'm like, is this one of those like
witches. I have to show you
phenomenon?
my co-star.
Oh, hi. So
She is
sweet.
loves her daddy no end.
Oh, she is such a
To everybody
sweetie.
else, she basically will eat them alive. The
I have
Chihuahua,
one of those. It's okay.
yeah, the friend we had somebody come out from New Jersey. No, we had somebody come out from New Jersey who now refers to her as how is that witch dog Zoe?
Hey,
she
there's a
is
little witch in all of us, Zoe. No big deal.
she was down there pounding away. She says, "Daddy, I want some airtime. Come on, come on." She's all on
Oh,
my Facebook page. I'm always putting her on there. She's my
well,
best
she's
buddy.
fabulous. She looks like a little diva.
Yes, you hit her on the nose.
I love
She
her
is,
like little hair fluffs.
yeah, she's a long-haired Chihuahua.
Oh,
And my wife wanted to bring home a dog. This was about 6 years ago. I did not want a dog. I said, "You are not bringing home a dog. I'm bringing home a dog. No, do not bring home a dog." There goes the co-star. And so she wants Zoe. She walks in the door. It was Zoe. I'm back here on the computer. Zoe, she comes around, comes right up to the side of me, lays on her back, and looks up at me. And I'm like, oh.
how do you deny that? How do you
You know,
deny that? You know,
I
you
knew I was like,
can't.
I'm sunk. This is it. This is it.
Yeah.
She senses a lot when there's stuff. She senses a lot of stuff here in the
Dogs are
house.
dogs are very spiritually inclined. That's my Bosley boy. He's like that.
Yeah, they are very highly tuned. I've got one picture of her staring into the kitchen at what I don't know. But we've had a lot. There used to be a lot of orbs in the house. I take pictures. I've got pictures of a lot of orbs. Now I don't get any more. I take pictures and I don't see any orbs. But I had a lot of orbs in here a few years ago.
We have to explore. I think one of the research that like we should do before our next episode is we need to start looking into what makes like that stretch from like Taos, New Mexico, like onward
Right.
so like
Probably.
such a hot spot because
Yeah.
there's got to be like something behind
It's
it.
got to be something why. Well, I'll do some work on it. Because I guess to me, it runs from like Utah into
Yeah.
Nevada. Arizona
Because
here,
Utah's
Texas.
Skinwalker Ranch, right?
Utah, Skinwalker, they got a lot of stuff in Utah. And
Yeah.
Texas has got a lot of stuff. The Lubbock Lights, Texas has had a lot of stuff. And then everywhere's got stuff, but it seems more condensed down here in my neck of the woods. It definitely seems to be more condensed. And there's just in Taos, almost everybody's got a story. I
Yeah.
mean, you talk to somebody and they might be, oh, well, oh, come on. You never had anything happen. Well, okay. And you'll hear the story of
Yeah.
something that they have encountered in this fine villa of a town. But this is the history of Taos. If you ever looked up the history, oh my God, this is a bloody, bloody town. The Native Americans and the Spaniards
Oh,
and
that right there.
the whites. Oh my God, and this is a very, very bloody history, which I think is part of the reason. I don't know if I mentioned last time when I first set foot in Taos, we drove up and you get this view of the gorge when you go up this hill. It'll just take your breath away. It's like the mini Grand Canyon, but it's not mini, but compared to the Grand Canyon, it's this gorge. It's just, I mean, you'd never get tired of looking at it. It's just stunning is the only word.
Yeah.
You see Natural Born Killers? Have you seen that?
No, I have not.
Got to see Natural
I'm
Born
gonna write
Killers
that down.
with Woody Harrelson. The scene where he's on a lot of that's filmed in New Mexico, and the scene where he's on the bridge is the Gorge Bridge.
Huh.
What's her name? Oh, anyway, the actress is on the Gorge Bridge. Anyway, first time he came out here, drive up, see it, and not 5 minutes past there, it hit me, and it has never ever left. The town is just so dark. I feel such oppression. I go to Santa Fe. Oh my God, I love it. I love Santa Fe.
It's a breath of
Whole
fresh
different,
air.
whole different energy. If we could afford it, that's where it would be.
Yeah.
Um, but Taos, oh, not everybody feels it here. But I really feel it here.
That's so crazy. I want to look into it.
Major creepy story, which is for another episode. This is another. I gotta have the lost leaders. We gotta.
It's all right. It's okay because next episode we'll have to talk about that. The
area.
Yeah.
The last podcast I did. That's what I swore I'd never do another one. But because Laura, that evil woman, talked me into doing this.
Hi, Laura. We love you.
She tells me how dark she is. I said, "Oh yeah, you're really dark, all right." Oh my God, she's an angel.
I was gonna say Laura is absolute love and light. She has a dark sense of humor, but I love it.
Yeah, she's fantastic. And I only know her from that one time we met out here. She moved and came back. She flew here to my neighbor who was sick to come live with them in New Jersey. And I told her, yeah, oh, that's dark. that's a real demon would do that.
Yeah, 100%, right?
I drove all the way back there. I'm like, oh, Laura, she's a wonderful person. And I've gotten to talk to her, every now and then we'll send messages. But because of her, we're doing this.
Yes.
And I swore after my last podcast, I don't think I'm ever going to do another one. That is a real dark story. The next one we're going to talk about is dark and creepy as hell.
It's going to get weird, guys. So buckle up.
The lady that put me up to that, I don't know what her shtick was. She's real religious. Okay. So I think she was out to get me. I could be wrong, but I think she was out to get me because a lot of people see the stuff, what I countered. And I've got a little bit of a dark side. Just a little bit.
Just a smidgen.
But I've also got a lot of light. So yeah, it's both, I don't consider myself an evil person,
Listen, you need balance. I mean, I always go back to yin and yang.
Yeah. Yes, yin and yang, precisely. Mm-hmm. But I do believe that she was out to get me, and she has gotten me good. She has gotten me real good. Next episode, I suppose, And that's
All right. So on that note, guys, we are gonna say our famous closing remark. Do you remember what it is?
guilty as charged. I do not.
All right. So like we end every episode, we always end it with let's get weird. So on the count of 3, give me your best. Let's get weird. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's get I let you finish that one off. I wanted to test your haunting actor skills. I was like, I'm gonna put him on the spot. He doesn't even know it.
I'm out of practice, but that wasn't too bad.
No, well, we'll definitely have to. We're gonna have to do some kind of voiceover for your segments on Sunday. So
I was gonna say we should have Alice Cooper's "Welcome to My Nightmare," but
there you go. Well, as always, I've had such a blast with you.
Likewise.
So we're gonna come in strong next episode with some extra spooky stuff. So stay tuned.
Here's my dog.
Yeah. Hopefully my
Sorry.
phone won't fly off the table and my camera or my light setup won't be flashing, but
Well, we got off this. Well, I hope so. Yeah.
it
If
comes
you
with the
feel,
territory.
if you feel real darkness, this I'm dead serious. This I do have a serious moment. You engulf yourself with white
The
light,
white light.
and it works.
I do it every time.
You?
You
Oh,
picture it getting bigger and brighter, and I just feel it getting hot and warm, and then that's what always does the trick.
it always does the trick. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's another story. Yeah. But the podcast is will curl your toes.
Yay. We like to hear that. It's going to be a good time. A toe curling episode. So stay tuned.
That's it. Hey, my dear.
I'm going to stop recording. All right.